Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the August. No, my God, it's not even August anymore. September 1st edition of Travis Told You. And I've forgotten the music too. Doing really good today. That's the sick mind coming in. As I think you could probably hear from yesterday when you listened to Travis Told You. I said, hey, not feeling the greatest and stuff like that. Still not feeling the greatest and things like that. So, but trucking through, getting some rest. I'm gonna talk about a little wrestling today because honestly, I have like some movie news and things like that, but nothing that like they're all like quick hit stuff. Nothing like I don't have anything that big to say. And the wrestling one, it can be like a bit uh, quicker, quicker. Even though you're like, well, I thought you wanted quick hits and stuff, but no, I meant in the sense as shorter episode, centered on one thing, in and out, as I say. And yeah, because we got like a really good weekend coming up here of wrestling and stuff like that. But before I get into it, down below is everything you find. Our Patreon's the biggest thing. The more you support us, the more you can give back to this podcast. You guys fund the spin-off shows, the extra newscasts, retrospectives, things like that. So we appreciate you very much. And Travis told you, originally the last episode was supposed to be tomorrow. I'm going to say it is for now. But things could change, like at least for this week. I mean, for the last episode, we'll see how I'm feeling, and also I might be talking some more wrestling next week, so we'll see. But maybe next Friday I will be doing the official announcement of what's going to be happening and stuff like that. Or this Friday, sorry, tomorrow. Bongle brain and stuff like that, but everything you need to know is in the links below. How to find us, support us, everything like that. And like I said, yes, Patreon, that's the best way to support us. We really appreciate the people on there, and we appreciate each and every one of you listening as well. Manscaped, 20% off. GVPOD, get that code. Lord of the Rings reviews happening. She-Hulk review just dropped tons of stuff. But yeah, so this is Travis Told You. As always, this is just about what I like to talk about, right? And usually it's movies or TV shows and my takes on them and stuff like that. And like I said, I think tomorrow what I'm kind of doing is saving like a bunch of the smaller news. So then if I have a bigger news topic tomorrow, I'll talk about the quick hits. But I imagine, and even tomorrow, if I don't have much, I'll do just kind of like a fun, I might even do just like a Q&A show. Send me any topic, question, if there's not much, because it is Labor Day coming up. And I feel like I've talked about this the past few weeks, where when I started, Travis told you lots of news, but then near the end it got a little bit less, and I think it's because like Labor Day is about to come up and D23, so lots of the news, trailers, stuff like that, they're all being withheld. But for wrestling, we got a huge weekend, so I'm gonna pull up the card right now for All Out first, and what I'm gonna do is simply just give my predictions. And just give a little, because I didn't review Raw or AEW this week because there was just so much actual like movie little news where I thought, oh, I'll get to the predictions later on, because I knew I was going to be doing this cast at some point. I've luckily, in my sickness, I bought the WWE game, having a lot of fun with that, just playing GMO, the Yin Yang. Maybe I'll get back into that with A or WWE and talk about them. But let's talk about the matches. So here's one thing. As of right now, there's 14 matches. This is the pay-per-view that's on Sunday at 8 p.m. EST. I'm of two minds here, because like there's three of them that are on the pre-show, and I know what's his name. That's how sick I am. What's his name? What's the owner of the company that I've loved the past few years? Tony Khan has been like, oh, All Out is not a or what is it? It's All Out 0 year. It's not a pre-show. It's its own event, I guess. But if you're not on the main pay-per-view, it's a pre-show, and people aren't going to remember you and stuff like that. So, oh, excuse me, sorry. Just, like I said, fighting it. But I might watch it, but the thing that takes me away from it is the fact of 14 matches. And he was even on the media call today being like, well, then there might be more. His statement was, the reason there's always so much matches is because they're so long. And S-Bubs, I did just see that thing about the Russo brothers in the show, and that I'll probably talk about tomorrow. Like I said, because there's a lot of little stories, I think I'm going to get those together and do a mini show tomorrow and just do some Q&As and stuff like that. So that'll be fun, but good luck to them. He says they're long and have lots of matches because we only do 4 pay-per-views a year, and we want people to get their money's worth, which I do understand. I just think sometimes it kills the pacing of the show and the crowd. And it's different with WWE now. Who knows with this era, but WWE in the past, even with those WrestleManias, that's when it was getting like 5 to 7 hours, and that was long. But usually in the old regime WWE, a 14 match card might not be that bad because there's a lot of matches that might only go 5 to 7 minutes. But now with AEW, lots of them, and this is what I do appreciate, they give people tons of time to wrestle and tell a story. That's what I want. But at the same time, whether it's and I'll take all the wrestling I can get, I guess, but there's still just, even when it comes to the life thing of like, hey, I remember when we were gonna review Top Gun Maverick, it's like, oh, I'll be done for this. Like, no, it's still going, and luckily it ended like right before. But it's just like, and I don't even know how the East Coast people do it. That's where I can't say that. There's something behind the scenes at GeekVerse. Not anything bad, something good. But anyways, uh, I don't know how they could watch this and stay up for it and stuff like that. So 14 matches, that's quite a bit. And he said he might add more. I think that's too much. And like I said, because the matches are too long, but hopefully they're all good. I'll be there. Luckily, I guess the idea is lots of people have Monday off, so it'll be a bit better. So I guess now's the time to do it there. But no, but for 0 hour, Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston 2. I think I'd like Ishii to get a win because I feel like other than like some team matches, Ishii's always losing, and I think it'd be kind of like some, I don't know, a little good punishment for Kingston if you know what happened. He did get punished and fined and suspended, but still, it's like this would be a little bit more than that. So and these matches I might watch maybe later, and so I think I'll probably give it to Kingston. The next match is what's upsetting is because Pac, I love Pac. He's one of the first guys to be like, I'm going to be the AEW champion. And he got cast aside because there's so many talents that signed. I get it, but at the same time, there was something about that first year AEW that I do miss of some of these people that I thought were underappreciated getting a main event status or scenes, and now they're kind of lower tier because we've signed a lot of people. So I get it. You got to add to the roster and add some names, but at the same time, one of the reasons I fell in love with AEW is seeing people that I wanted to see wrestle. And I know people say, oh, Elevation Dark, yeah, it's there, but it's not the same. So Pac is also on this pre-show. And it's like, since he's been this all-Atlantic champion that they gave to him a few months ago, first ever, I don't think he's defended that on Dynamite or Rampage. I think it's been in Dark. It's not been on pay-per-view. This is 0 hours. It's not on pay-per-view. So yeah, that makes me disappointed in the fact that I really love Pac and I want to see more of him. And this is why I will go watch this. But to me, he deserves enough because he's so good to be on the main card, in my opinion. So I think Pac, I think he's taken this one. Kip Sabian doing the whole box gimmick. They're still keeping it. He takes the box over his head. I don't know. I don't think this is going to work out too well. I think either there will be a change or he's going to keep this and eventually the company will part ways because it's just, I don't know, a dead gimmick. Even anytime they try to talk about like why I wear this box over my head, just doesn't track as something that interesting. And then you got Hook versus Angelo Parker. Hook is just gonna kill him, and even then, same thing. Hook, like there's something. It's tough because there is a good card up here, but it's just like that's where space it out a bit more, or I don't know. But I do understand some things like the match we get to the actual pay-per-view of like Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. I get why that's on there. Very popular guys. I love Bryan Danielson. You could make a case for he's still the best wrestler in the world. Jericho's your mainstream guy. So I do get that. And I do get the idea of, it's on 0 hours, so it makes it a little less shorter. But I'm just torn because there's people that I want to see on the pay-per-view and build because there will be people that won't watch 0 year and they'll have no knowledge of this other than a quick highlight that they're checking their phone for, right? But so yeah, we get into the actual pay-per-view now. Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. I think that is gonna be a fun match. I know they're doing it's like the American Dragon versus Lionheart and stuff like that, but he was Lionheart a few weeks ago and he lost to Jon Moxley. So it's like a weird, it's a weird thing as far as like, oh yeah, I'm bringing it back. Look out. Yeah, but we just saw a dude beat you. That's nothing crazy. So I think what they're going to do is they're doing this whole back and forth with Danny Garcia, right? Will he stay in the inner circle? Will he join the Blackpool Combat Club? And this week, Jericho went to hit he went to hit himself with the head. He went to hit Bryan Danielson with a chair in the head or a chair somewhere, and Garcia stopped him because he's saying you're lying, like you're better, you don't need a chair yet. What I think is going to happen is then he stopped Jericho and then Brian kneed him, got his finish on him, right, and hurt him and stuff like that. And it was like he got the better of the situation. I think that Daniel Garcia is going to accidentally cost Brian this match by again trying to save him, and Jericho gets the win. Because I feel like, well, maybe not. I'd have to look back. Because last pay-per-view Jericho was on, he lost to, I guess they both lost because Danielson lost to Moxley and Jericho lost to Kingston. So it really could go either way. And I could see Daniel getting the win and that could push Garcia over. I still like Garcia being in the, I guess it's not Inner Circle, the Jericho Appreciation Society. I think they should just kept it Inner Circle. You didn't need the two factions, but and even then, the whole Appreciate thing, you could bring that aspect in. Just because Blackpool Combat Club, I feel like has enough people, and we're not seeing them together too much anymore. We got Claudio, Wheeler, Moxley, and Bryan Danielson, right? I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. That's the four, and I guess you count Regal. I think you could maybe get one more member. So sure, Garcia or a woman. Everyone keeps pitching Hayter. I'd love that. I would love Hayter to be in there, but I think four is enough right now. I don't need too much more, and I want them to be more as a unit. And that's why I hope Moxley does lose the main title this weekend, so we can kind of get back to that, because they had a great run. They're taking out people and had some storylines. They bumped into the Inner Circle, Yas or whatever, and now they've kind of disbanded, doing their own thing. They're still buddies. They're still teams, but I don't always need them to be team together. I just felt like there was some story beat, but maybe like them not being the trios title. I hope that leads to some stuff. So we'll see. I will pick. I'll pick Jericho for the win. That's what I will. But it's a very, very close one. Next is for the interim AEW's Women's World Championship. Toni Storm versus Britt Baker, DMD, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida. The original plan, if you don't want spoilers, but the original plan was for Toni to get this win. So I would look at it and go, why not still do that? So honestly, if I'm picking, I'm still picking Toni. I think the best story is for Hayter. And I've said this before, she's working hard. I think that this is, I know it's a situation where it feels like you have to have someone that makes the title, not the title makes the person. Sometimes you still need someone to get that first run to like put them up on the echelon. I even remember in Chicago this past week, I feel like she was doing some really great moves. And it depends. Some crowds are different, but like she was in the ring doing some good moves, and they're still chanting for Britt. You got to change that and get her on that level. And I think the title would do that. I don't even think it's hot shotting. She's working hard. She did this great spot in the team match this week where she literally superplexed Storm and Shida at the same time. That's babyface shit right there, of like suplexing two women at the same time, getting a big move. And the crowd like clapped for her, was appreciating it, but I still feel like because she's attached to Britt, that's to me that's holding her back. I think like her having a title versus staying with Britt would help her out so much more. So what I'm pitching here is that what I want is Jamie to win, and then them to start the kind of redo Jericho or redo Orton and Triple H back in the day, where she's very happy for Jamie, and then that turn happens. And like, if I can't be champion, I don't want you to be champion, and have this long feud, make it last the next pay-per-view. You don't have to have Britt turn right away. You could even have them have like a one-on-one match and Jamie beats her, and then it's like all respectful, but then after it's like, no, I don't want to be respectful. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do this and stuff. I think you could tell, because the next one was Full Gear November. I think like it sounds like a lot, but from September, October, November, I think you could easily, I know it sounds easy, but I think if you take your time, you could tell a 3-month story easily with these three, because the backstory. And I think you have Hayter win that feud, get over on her. It'd be huge. They could still do that without the title, and I'm not opposed to that, but I think the title is like a good inception for why the feud's happening. But I'm going to pick Storm because that was the plan originally. House of Black versus Darby, Sting, and Miro. I like the House of Black. I like Darby, and I like Sting. I just really wish this was actually just Malachi and Miro. This might happen on Dynamite, or might happen in November. I doubt they'll stretch out that long. I wish you did the House of Black match on Dynamite and the Miro versus Malachi one-on-one, because that's fun. Like, you go back there, both like big stars of NXT and stuff like that back in the day, and to see them crossing paths now is great because they were in different generations, but still like having them duke it out, who's never really duked it out before. I think it would be the first time one-on-one. I think there's a lot more excitement for me in this match if it was that. If it's where it is now, I think we're in a good match. It's going to be good. You know, Sting makes sense for a pay-per-view to put him on there, right? Darby, I like. I don't know who gets the win here. I would prefer House of Black to get the win, just because they are an actual unit. And I feel like with Darby, Sting, and Miro, they even did like, oh, the enemy is my friend. So maybe you could do this whole, they don't really trust Miro, this missing communication, that's why they lose. So my hope is House of Black, because I think House of Black has a longer term of being a trio and maybe going for the trios title. If you want Miro to get a win over, get the win all over Malachi, maybe, you know? And honestly, I'd like to see one of these people pin Sting. And I guess they are doing this because there's been a lot of teasing of Malachi versus Sting, and it feels like they're not going to do a one-on-one match, so this is the best way that they're going to get to fight. I would like it if they had Malachi beat Sting. Sting's not lost in AEW. That would be huge. If you're not doing a one-on-one match between the two, have the 6-man, have him pin him, and that would actually make me much more happy with this match if that is the end result. So I could be sold on why, because like him getting pinned should happen on a pay-per-view. So we will see. Next is Jade Cargill versus Athena. I think this has a potential. I'm not going to say a show stealer, but it's funny. There was a while where Jade was there and she's doing good. She's very green. I think she's less green now. I mean, at that time, very green, but putting on decent matches. And she got the title strapped to her. She's very new to the business. I was like, okay, let's see what she does. And then for a while, she, to me, was having like banger matches. Like she had one with, oh, what's her name? They have her doing a terrible choke you out gimmick, Anna Jay. And then they had a rematch there and it just wasn't as good. But like there's a string of like a bunch of Dynamites and pay-per-views where she was having really good matches. So I hope this is it because I feel like lately she's been having good matches, but they've just been all right. Like she had one with Massive Rain, which was fine. I can't remember another person, but I feel like all of them have just been fine, not as memorable and stuff like that. So I hope that this is a memorable one. I think they could gel. I think the styles match really well. Jade's winning this easy. I don't know who's going to take it off Jade. I really don't. And it's good because we get 2 women's matches here. The only time in the pay-per-view or for pay-per-views, that's when we get them is at the pay-per-view for women matches. I hope Tony Khan even said like on Busted Open yesterday, like I try to listen to my fans. I'm trying to show them. And I know I think maybe lately I've sounded like down on Tony Khan, but it's just like there's just certain fixes where I feel like he's just like, oh yeah, I'm listening to them, but it's like if you're listening, tons of people are saying they want more women's wrestling. If you go, oh, the ratings, well then make better creative, make better stories for them. You know, get people interested in their storylines. So Jade gets the win here, what I think should be a really good match. Next, Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. This should be a good fight, like just a full-on fight. I like the story. Jungle Boy's promo a few weeks ago, I don't think I covered it, wasn't the greatest, but I like the story. I like the mentor, but then he was really just using them. I think Christian gets the win here because Luchasaurus plays into it, and he really is with Christian or has a change of heart and costs him the match. I think there's more money in this if you make Jungle Boy chase a little more. Now you go, oh, do you really want Jungle Boy to lose this match? No, so that's why I feel like do it in a cheating way. Even if it's not Luchasaurus, have Christian win and get the or cheat and get the win. I think there's a bit more money in this, like very cutthroat, savage, just very rude heel and Christian. I think he get a lot out of it, and Jungle Boy as a babyface losing can get there. And I don't think they'd ever do this if like Christian be AEW champion, Jungle will beat him. But maybe like number one contendership is like Christian beats him, and months later or even a year later when Jungle Boy's ready to take that next step, like Christian's that one guy he has to beat to get there. They did that with Cena and Angle back in the day where Angle beat him, but on the way to the championship, he beat him and Big Show to get there, right? So, excuse me. So I think that'd be a good way. So I'm going to take a quick water break here, but I think Christian's going to get it by hook or crook. That's what I think. And then you have Wardlow and FTR, who I'm saying this now that I feel that FTR is going to end up back in WWE when their contracts are up. I just feel like things, and they're not even being overly, like I really hate it here, but just stuff like they had the squash match in AEW and they were like, oh, I hope I get 5 stars. They're just having a joke, but they're also removed from the video game. And they said like, oh, we understand why we're removed from the video game, but it's still weird because like Punk was there after them, Adam Cole was there after them, but they're still not in the video game. Maybe it's DLC. I don't know. They've talked about a few times, like they just miss like fighting and that just means like wrestling. I don't know. I feel like, especially with Triple H in charge, it's going to happen. I think it's real. Like I mark my words. I'm saying that right now. Maybe there's a change. They've done great things with them, but I feel like they could be doing better things with them. And they also sound like they get that change happens, but I feel like they're also disappointed not doing Young Bucks FTR 3 here. That would have been huge. And I get it at this, because the whole point was, and I guess maybe we can talk to them back to back. The whole point was the second Kenny's back, we're going to do the trios title, right? I'm assuming that the whole plan was Young Bucks won the team titles and they just randomly lost to Swerve and Argolla, which I think is like, it's fine. We'll talk about it a bit. It's fine. I don't think it's really gelling for me. And I think, I don't know, we'll talk about it in a second, but they lost, right? And because they want to do the trios tournament. I think they should have played this to all out. And I get you want Omega and he's ready to go and stuff like that. Put him somewhere else. Have him have a big tune-up match. Have him be with somebody and then go into Trino's tournament and do that at full gear. I'm messing up all my words. I think that you should have done that. That's a big thing. I think the Bucks were going to lose that, so have that story play out. Unless they were going to win, and that's why they're not doing it now. But have that story play out and then move on. And again, if you were going to have the Bucks win, then have them lose here. If you want them to win the feud, make it a fucking 5 series because people don't care. They love that. Like they put on fantastic matches, the two of them, right? People aren't going to care if it's a best of 5 now. It's like great, sign me up. So it sounds like they're a little disappointed by that. And now I think. Tony Khan has realized that, and he got something juicy for them. So it's Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. This actually made me excited because before it was looking like Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt and the big East Indian dude, right? I can't remember. It's like Sins or something. I can't remember. I think he's very green, doesn't really know much to wrestle and stuff like that, or doesn't know that much. That unit's just not working. So I think they did say like they were disappointed, but they're happy now. I feel the same, but I think Tony Khan has to be careful, make them extremely happy in the next little bit. I don't know how much their contract lasts for, so maybe he doesn't have to worry about it, but I would have not let the Young Bucks thing happen because the story was going there. Now it's just like Young Bucks' second reign was just kind of for nothing. And it's like, when is FTR going to get all the titles? That was the point of like, they got the AAA titles, they got New Japan titles, and they're going to get the AEW titles. So they've been dripping in gold, right? And that's not going to happen, I don't think so. And they've been number 1 ranked in a while, and it kind of shows, this ranking system is not really working. So disappointing there. They're going to get the win, though, and I think it should be a really solid match. And then what I was talking about, the Elite versus TBD. We don't know who it's going to be, but we know who it's going to be. Because right now on Friday, it's Best Friends versus Dark Order and Hangman Page. I don't know why. I think it's stupid. They started, if you're watching, you know this, where it was going to be Alex Reynolds, Ska, John Silver, and Iluno. And then it's like, oh, well, he's out of town because he's doing the game thing. So we need a partner. And they get 10. And it's like, oh, 10's injured. And then they attack Evil Uno. Unless there was scheduling or an injury thing with Hangman and he couldn't go the past 2 weeks, I just wish they made Hangman there the whole time because it's weird for a babyface to come in at the semifinals, not having to win the first match, being completely fresh. So he's like wrestled less than the opponents and getting to go in there and possibly winning. I think, especially now with like the past few weeks, they called, Punk called him a coward. He didn't get to respond to that. And now this. Luckily, I don't think most of the general audience fans and even hardcore fans will care as much as I do. It's just a little thing of storytelling. Like, why didn't we do it the whole time? Would have felt a bit more earned. But at the end of the day, I don't care because we're going to get the Dark Order appeal. That's great. We're going to get the Elite versus Hangman. This is going to be the highlight of the night. I think it's going to be the match of the night for wrestling and storytelling-wise. Punk and Moxley has a chance, so we'll see. But the drama between Hangman versus the Bucks, who have been newly formed, and like as far as being trying to be friends again, they apologize and he accepted them, but they're still kind of awkward. And then Kenny, the last time they were in a ring, is he beat him for the World Championship. And I think what's going to happen is the Elite's going to win. I'm not 100% on that, though. I could see the Dark Order picking out a win, but I think they're going to win, and it's going to end with Omega and Hangman hugging or at least shaking hands. Don Callis might not like it and turn his back on those, kind of get rid of that, but I think that's the story. Win or lose, that's the story, and I can't wait for that Elite drama. Man, Elite drama is my favorite stuff in professional wrestling, and like these former friends who now respect each other that have such a huge history. Man, it's a big thing. Juggernaut, what's up? I just subbed your channel. Well, thank you very much, Juggernaut. I'm not sure if you subbed because of the wrestling, but I will be covering it a bit more. We cover movies, TV shows, games, stuff like that, but I may or may not be covering it a bit more this year and in the new year, so we'll see. Hashtag tease. So, Elite Drama is the best, and I know they're going to do really great stuff with this match. So Elite versus Dark Order with Hangman, that's my most anticipated match of the weekend easily because they just tell the best stories in between and outside the ring. So what I was mentioning here, Swerve in our glory, so Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus The Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Matt Caster. I like Swerve and Keith individually. The tag team thing's not really working. I also just like, I think it's just the inception of just the name Swerve in our glory, Swerve in our glory. Just stupid. They're two single guys that got put together to me to be on the card because they're talented. Tony Khan didn't have a spot for him because Tony Khan just keeps signing so many fucking people. I think they're going to be Acclaimed. This will be a fun match. It just has no heat on it. I like Acclaimed. I like them a lot. I think they made the right decision to turn them face. But I think what they should have done is, I don't know what they're doing with FTR and Bucks and everything, but let's say FTR and Bucks are out of the picture for a while. Whatever the heel team to beat Swerve is, should have been the Acclaimed to beat them. Even if it's FTR, that might seem funny, like the Acclaimed beating FTR, but FTR can make that match good and make them stars. I think the Acclaimed turning babyface pretty much, and now getting a shot at team titles and losing. I don't know. If they win, I'll take it back. And maybe this is a start, because they've always hinted that there's like problems between Swerve and Our Glory, and they're always, they've eliminated once each, like Swerve threw him over the top at a Battle Royal, and they got back on the same page. I wouldn't mind that. Even if the Acclaimed has a little run and FTR gets the titles back, sure. So again, it's all about execution, but the match really has no story or heat. It's fair. As far as all these, it's the least I'm looking forward to, even though I like all the individuals in it. So we'll see. Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I think this is going to be good. I think there's going to be a lot of good storytelling in this, a good grudge match. I think Ricky Starks gets the win. And then after that, I think they got to be careful, because I think Hobbs is losing a lot of these big matches, but it's just because the story dictates you kind of got to lose here. I think after this, they need to make Hobbs go on a run, and I think they should actually make him beat Wardlow for the TNT Championship. Wardlow's run as TNT Championship, maybe it's also because the MJF thing kind of started on a sour note, but it's been nothing. And again, I think it's because Tony's introduced too many titles. Like, there's so much, all my problems that I have with AEW right now, most of them have been like stuff WWE fell in the trap to, not letting the women wrestle, too many titles, some of the bookings and stuff. It's like, I still like the product, and I think I still overall prefer it to WWE, but WWE is inching closer and closer every week now that Trips has taken over. So, I would like that, but I think it's going to be a good match, and Ricky gets the win. So I don't think I've taken an ad break yet, have I? No. So I'm going to take an ad break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So let's continue off. I think we only got the two left. Oh, excuse me. The Casino Ladder match. Winner receives a future AEW World Championship match. Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Penta El Zero Miedo. I never know why he changed from Pentagram, or what was his, or Pentel, what was his other name? Oh, I'm going to go on a detour. Penta El Zero, that's what it was, right? Don't know why he changed it. But anyways, Rey Fenix, Rush, Andrade El Idolo, Dante Martin versus TBD. One thing I find kind of weird is that you have 3 teams in here, and it's a one, it's a every man for themselves kind of match. Maybe they'll play that storyline. Just felt it was kind of weird. I like most of these people. Actually, I like them all. Roosh is the one that I'm least familiar with, so I could have used someone else. But out of who's left, I think this is good. I can't remember. Did they grab? No, they grab a casino chip, right? Not a brass ring. Even you take out the TBD person, gonna be a good match. I can't wait to see Claudio and Wheeler just go at it in a segment where it's like, oh, the best one of us win. Because I love Wheeler, I love Claudio. The TBD one, that's obviously the big thing, right? Who is it? And all these rumors of MJF and all this stuff. And I guess I should have mentioned I forgot about the Elite. Maybe I'll talk about that. I don't know, at another time. I was just going to talk about Bobby Fish and his contract, but it's just weird. Like, it just sucks with the Elite that we're not going to get the Undisputed Era match. And it sounds like Bobby Fish is done August 31st. I don't want to go on a tangent, but I'm just talking about people coming and going. Tony Khan should have nurtured that relationship to get that match at least, because he said a few things like, oh, I didn't get enough matches. You should at least got the big money match. Now, could you get someone else in the Elite? Sure, but it's just not the same. So big missed opportunity. I would get doing that match and then parting ways, because I don't think there's much left for Bobby Fish to become like a big money making star for the company, but it feels like that story's missing a piece. So that'll be another time. But is it MJF? There's all these rumors, scuttlebutt, that he is coming back soon and stuff. And is this a big payoff? It's tough because so much has happened with Moxley and Punk so if he gets this and he wins it, because who else is either it's a new signing, which I don't think we need. We got so many stars. I don't think we need another new signing. So it's either a new signing or it's someone returning from injury. And I can't think about it in my head right now just because I'm sick, who's all injured and whatnot. The obvious one's MJF. I think this works as far as because he's a Joker, to come in last, he's not ranked, he gets a title shot. Now, if he does a thing where, not like Money in the Bank, where like, oh, he gets to cash at any point, not so much as like he gets this title shot, but he's going to use it at some point down the line, then, okay, then you can, dish it out for a little bit, make us wait. But if it's literally like he has to challenge Punk right after, I don't know if that's the move for Punk, because I think Punk is beating Moxley. I don't know if that is the move to have him face Punk right away and even beat him, because it'd be weird as like Punk got injured, he gets the title back, then he just loses to MJF. I don't know. At the same time, you could say, oh, Punk's injured and stuff like that. A lot of this depends on what they're doing with the Punk Moxley match, and if there's a heel turn, stuff like that. But so my prediction is if it's MJF, he will get the win. If it's not, I think Andrade El Idolo would be a good pick. I think he needs a big win. There's another person that I think has a very high chance going back to WWE because of Charlotte and because he was booked very well in NXT. I remember I liked Andrade just fine when we started in NXT, and then they gave him this like gimmick with what's her name now? Trinidad, is that what she's still called? I don't think she's called that in WWE. She was like the queen of the ring and stuff. Crap. But anyways, it's Malachi's wife. And it was this thing where the reason he was losing because he was partying too much and being a wild animal and he wasn't getting enough sleep and all this stuff. And she like cleaned him up. And he had some great stuff with Gargano and Malachi Black, stuff with that. I loved Andrade. And that was the best thing Triple H was really good at doing, of taking people like that. Or FTR, where I was even like, can this really work nowadays? Or Vaudevillains. And he makes it work. Andrade's been lost since he's been in AEW. He's been all over the map, and I think he should be in a lot more higher profile stuff. He's one of these guys where if Bryan Danielson, even Jericho, but let's say just Bryan Danielson, Punk, Moxley, and I won't count Moxley because he came in really early, and Moxley, I think, even though I'm not even the biggest fan of him being a title holder sometimes, I think he's vital, but even just Bryan, like Danielson and Punk, having those two out, I feel like Andrade or Pac would be so much higher up the card. So I think you can still do that because like that's what I like with Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. You can do that, have them do these solo matches, but at the same time they're bumping people like Pac off, and that's where I think you could easily take the team title match off and replace that with Pac and stuff. That's a whole different thing. But if it's MJF, he's winning. If it's not, I think Andrade, because I don't think he would beat Punk, but I think it'd be a good match and at least give him a highlight. And then same thing, I think Andrade should, if it's not Hobbs, he should be winning the TNT Championship or something, something to give him some momentum or juice going on. And then main event, Moxley versus Punk. I don't know how to feel about this whole thing. I will answer this not after a bad break. I know it sounds like a throw. I think next week, because I have one more day off, I will probably do one more Travis Told You, and it probably will be wrestling centric. I will talk about this more when we see the result of this, but if it was, I get Tony Khan's pitch of it was a buzzworthy thing, created some talk, won the whole week. It is, but long term, was it good for Mox to beat Punk in a minute and a half and then just lose the title later on? I don't know. Shock booking can work, and shock booking can hurt a story. I'm 50-50 on, I see pros and cons for each side. I will not be able to tell you until I see this match. If this match is just a full straight and through match of Punk just beats him, yeah, I guess there was a mini story there, but I just go, would have been better if Punk just to have that reign and he hasn't been beat. And the only way he was beat by MJF was because he cheated. So we'll see. I think he's walking on a fine line. I'm leaning more towards me not liking it. I do get it. It's good to have a shock value. And he said it posed a good rating, got them back over 1 million. So I get there's some benefit things. I just think you could do that elsewhere. Like kind of the way they did it with Brody Lee and Cody. That was great because it was like Cody already had the title for a while. It was a shocking thing. It was a squash. It was a TNT title, stuff like that. This was shocking, but it's like, was it just shocking for the week and then we move on? And was it worth it? I don't know. And then same thing, is it worth it? Of like, let's say Punk beats Moxley, I'd be more open to, okay, MJF's going to come back and beat Punk. But now it's like, okay, so Punk lost the title, and then he got it back, and then he lost the title. I don't know. So I'm picking Punk. It's in Chicago. I'm hoping there's something like a heel turn or something, because I do want them to do him and Hangman again. I don't think they're going to. And again, Hangman was on this week in a scripted backstage promo. So again, I'm very disappointed too in Khan that I know maybe they could have talked about it, but Hangman on screen as a character should have got a 1 over on Punk, if that's like a real apology. Maybe it's coming, but yeah, I still I lost a lot of, I won't say respect, but a lot of, a little, I won't say a lot, I'll say a little respect and some of my fan influence when that happened, because I thought that was a real shitty thing to all go down and everything like that. So that's that show. Sure, it's going to be 13 hours and stuff, but I'll be talking about it next week. Let's take an ad break, and then we're going to talk about Clash at the Castle, so we'll be right back. And we're back. So let me pull this up for the first time ever, I'm not ever, but for the first time in a while, I'm very excited. I've been watching all the WWE stuff that's like SmackDown Raw, not if there's like main event, no, but I'm very excited for this because it's Triple H's first real pay-per-view. I know he was in charge of SummerSlam, but this is the one he's been starting to book. It's in a UK crowd. They haven't had a pay-per-view in, look at this, 2003 Insurrection. I remember I bought that because, what was the main event? Wasn't it like Undertaker versus, no, was it I'm going to have to look. Because one of them they did like Brock and Rock and Triple H. It's like, what is this? Like, this is because okay, it was just Triple H versus Kevin Nash. It was pretty much just like a bad blood pay-per-view. But for a while, in Insurrection, I remember they did like Undertaker, Stone Cold. They used to do like just really cool one-off matches because it was UK and they were giving them a good show. But since 2003, almost 20 years, this is in the middle of the afternoon, which is going to be fun. And I think this crowd is going to be fucking jacked. And I can't wait. And because they should be, because this match, this is, I'm looking really for this. 6 matches, 6 versus 14. Now, they do matches or pay-per-views every month, so that makes sense. But I think a lot of these get time, and a lot of these could steal the show. This is just a solid show. Edge and Ray versus Judgment Day. Funny it rhymes. I guess this sucks because it would be better if Christian was in WWE at this point, because I like the Edge and Ray connection enough. It just feels like Edge has to fight someone with Judgment Day, and even when I was like watching a little bit or keeping up with it, it seems like the Mysterios have been fighting Judgment Day for so long that it's Edge and Ray, so it's Ray fighting them again. Just need something fresh. What I do like that's something fresh is Dominic's like, why aren't I on the team? Why is it not you and me? And he's like, oh, I just need someone more experienced, which is strange because, Ray and Dominic have beat the Judgment Day and stuff like that before, but it's kind of like just watch our backs and, Edge is, you're good, but like Edge is better. They keep showing some kind of signs of Dominic being unpleased. I know they've said before that they don't plan on doing a father-son match, but plans change, pal, card subject to change. So I don't know. I almost agree with them though. That I don't know if there's much money there because Dominic I think is fine, but I think the second Ray retires, he doesn't have much of a career, unfortunately. So yeah, I think I would like to see Judgment Day get a win here because it's not Edge 1v1, cheat, or Dominic costs him it, and then later on we get Beth and Rhea, or Edge and Beth versus Rhea and Finn and stuff like that. I think Judgment Day just needs to, it's good they got a win on Raw this week against AJ and Dolph. They just need more of them to build them up as a unit because it feels like anytime they get some steam of just wins, they lose right away. It's like, okay, sure. Gunther, or maybe say Gunther, I don't know how they say it, versus Sheamus. This match is going to bring the juice. This is going to, they're going to slap the shit at each other. They're going to hit the shit at each other. I absolutely love this. I see Ann Butch. If you've seen some spoilers, it seems like Butch might be coming back to the Pete Dunne era. Thank fucking God. It's just like Kevin Owens where I can put him back in my top 10 of like, I love this guy, but this Butch character is awful. It's like when you love an actor. I love Michael Fassbender, but I could no longer call him the greatest working actor the past 2 years career because like the projects he picked, they made him look not good. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah, Sheamus for this. When they did that Fatal 5-Way to see who was gonna verse Gunther, 2 Europeans at the pay-per-view, I'm like, how do you not have Sheamus? And Sheamus is like very underrated. I feel like people do not. They always pass over Sheamus as far as like having good matches and stuff. Here, I was like, that's the play you got to do. It's in his home country, stuff like that. Perfect. They did it. As I've said before, I think I told this a few weeks ago. They're just doing the right things. I think Gunther will win this. But man, this is going to be a good match. I can't even say it's my most anticipated, but it's close. But next, my most anticipated would probably be this one. Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. I refuse to call him Seth freaking Rollins. Man. Bravo A+ stuff they did on Raw. They did a sit-down interview, and they're just training. It's like the old school WWE. You suck. I'm going to beat you because this. I'm going to beat you because this. Insults, right? And I didn't know this because I don't watch UFC like I used to, but I guess like John Jones and Daniel Cormier had like a similar thing where they weren't sure that they were on air, so there was like some swearing or cross words taken or had. And they did that too, where it's like, okay, it looks like they're off air. And Rollins was like, hey, you're still there, Riddle? He's like, yeah. He's like, hey, you want to talk about my family? Let's talk about yours. Let's talk about your wife that divorced you and took your kids because they don't want to see your bitch ass anymore. And then it's Riddle swearing and stuff. And what I loved, because Seth Rollins to me, I think he is my top 10. The character brings it down. I think it's way too over the top. I get what he's going for. I just liked him way better in the Architect, or in a sort of like old school Edge Ultimate Opportunist, the Shield Rollins, all that sort of stuff. Even Burn It Down Rollins, who's babyface, I preferred that. Only reason the crowd turned on him because they paired him with Becky, and I wasn't opposed to that, but it always is iffy with fans with pairing the relationship, and the Fiend stuff did not do Rollins any favors. That really fucked him up. So they had a hot babyface, I think. I know people always go, when he won at WrestleMania, did they cheer because Brock lost or cheered because he win? I think it is a mixture, and maybe leaning towards Brock losing, but still, I think it was their booking that made him go lower tier and stuff like that. So I love that he broke character. He didn't do that chuckle. He wasn't over the top and stuff. So I would love it if he plays it off this way, where this, like some of my favorite versions of the Joker, where the Joker as that symbol is a facade. He puts that on to trick people so you misunderestimate him. I would love if that is the reveal. And that kind of fits with some things that have happened with Rollins. So I hope they lean in this more, where he cracks and says something serious and goes back to the ha ha ha. So I liked that. This match, I think I said Gunther's going to win. Yeah, I was just saying. I think Judgment Day, I think they're going to win, but I'm very 50-50 on that. I think Rollins is going to win this one. It's the first time ever they're wrestling one-on-one. They had a real life past of not liking each other, so it's lucky this match has happened. I knew it would. Rollins said I'd never work with him, but it's like, business is business. If there's money to be made, it's going to happen. This is arguably the best thing on WTV right now. I'm going to go Rollins because I feel like some of the stuff that was real life was kind of below the belt. Some of the stuff Riddle and his ex-wife had said about Becky and Seth, and specifically Becky. I think this is where you give Seth that win. You left him off SummerSlam, and it's like, hey, everything's all good now, but this just gives him a little of, he's going to win. You guys said some shit in the past. We're going to give him the W. And he says he's moving on to Roman. I don't know if that's the case, but we'll see. Bianca, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. They need to get a faction name for them, so we can just shorten it. But obviously on Raw, there was that whole the teams tournament to crown the champions, and Sky and Kai didn't win, and people were very mad about the whole situation, right? As far as, well, Aaliyah was hurt, and it looked like Raquel just like 1v2'd them. They lost the titles, made them look weak. For me, I didn't really have a problem with it. I understand the problem of them getting the win, because I think that should have happened. I really do, because I know people are like, oh, well, the reason Sky and Kai lost is because Naomi and Sasha might be coming back, so they could beat Aaliyah and Raquel, get those titles right back. I don't think you got to do that story. I think you could have Sasha and Naomi go in the title match and still lose it. And I think to Kai and Sky to beat them with Bayley as their manager, obviously the history between Bayley and Sasha, lots was set up there. So I think, yeah, overall they should have won. But if they're not going to win, this was, I think, a perfect way to do it. You had them beating down Raquel the whole match. Aaliyah was injured, win the back, but she came back. She's coming and everything like that, right? She tags Raquel. What happens is, in a tag team match, the ref has to see the tag, and he goes, okay, tag. But the opponents, they were hurt, the opposing team. They didn't see the tag. So Aaliyah makes the tag. She's the person supposed to be in the ring. She gets down the ring. Gets out of the ring, I mean. They're still beating up Raquel, and then Aaliyah jumps in the ring, scoops them up for a quick pin, gets it. So they tricked them. What I like about this is it keeps Sky and Kai strong, because they lost because they got outsmarted by a babyface. So that's fine if a heel gets outsmarted, because they're kind of be bad, and you can boo if they're like a little dumber. But even then, it's not that they're dumb. It was just like a clever move. They did get pinned by the illegal person, so we'll see if that brings that back in. Or like the illegal person got pinned. I don't know if that was planned, but I feel like they're trying to edge that way now. But that's fine if you get outsmarted in a smart way. And know what's good is, like, this babyface actually outsmarted the heels. In WWE, that rarely happens. The babyfaces are always idiots that just, one distraction, one thing, and they just lose the match, because you're like, why would you do this? Why? No sane person would act like this. So the fact that they had a babyface who's maybe not as tough as these girls, but outsmarted them and got the quick, like, mischievous trick win, I liked that. So I felt they were protected. I thought they should have still got the win with Sky and Kai. But if they're going to lose, that was the way to do it. But they have to win the 6-woman tag. If they don't, then they're going to be dead in the water. If they lost the team titles and this, then it just feels like Vince. So I think they're going to get the win. I think they need the win. Liv and Shayna. This is the one I'm probably least excited for. They could win me over. I just don't know how their styles are going to mesh. This just feels like a placeholder so we get more Liv and Ronda. Shayna, another one that got mismanaged on the main roster when she came over. So I hope they kind of recapture some of that fire that they found with her. This could be a good match as far as like some of the styles, but it could also not. I don't know. There's something about where I just don't see it being really, really good. I see it being fine, but I could be wrong because Liv Morgan, the few times I have like tuned in the past, it seems like she can pull out a banger out of nowhere sometimes. That's how she kind of got some hype. And Shayna, I hope, can get there. So we'll see. And then the main event, Roman Reigns, it says with Paul Heyman. I don't think he's back, but Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Just a mouthful, right? Gonna be a good match. It's in Drew's home country. That's gonna be great. They used the Broken Dreams song in a promo, so people think they're gonna use that. I don't know why he would. He has new music. It fits his character, but sure, play it. Maybe it's something to do with in the UK and stuff. I know there's been this big thing where it's like, hey, there's rumors that there's been, for the first time in a while, discussions that Roman Reigns might drop the title. And I feel like that would happen because Triple H is taking over and he's had this long reign, 2 years, right? The celebration happens tomorrow, 2 years. But I also feel like it's something you have to talk about if you're Triple H. Like, you know what? Should we take it? Should we not? And that's where I feel they're talking about it, but I don't think Drew's the guy. I think Drew's the guy to, if they had 2 titles separated, he could be a guy to, he has been before. And I do want him, if you were to tell me, hey, he's going to get a win here because he had to win and beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania with no fans in an arena, empty arena, quiet, I'd say, you know what, that's fine. He's put in a lot of hard work for the company. So I'm not completely opposed to it. I just wish it wasn't for both of them. I feel like someone that has to get that win is someone that hasn't won the title before, in my preference, like a Cody or someone else. So I think Drew is going to get very close, but he is going to lose. But I wouldn't be surprised with these rumblings. But I still think they're having conversations because they have to, because it's Triple H's first run at doing this, right? Like, really, right? So I don't think they're going to put on Brock because it's just I think Brock was happy to come and do the work, and we may never see Brock again. And I'm kind of fine with that. So I think discussions, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Roman's going to keep it, and they're going to keep this reign going. I know he just signed a new part-time deal, but whatever. Maybe that's why they still should do, hey, we're going to split one of these titles up so Raw has a champion. Raw should have a champion. I think that would be better for the show. So maybe they could do something like that in the future. But for this match, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a hard-hitting one, but I think Roman's going to get the win. So that's my thoughts on, we got 2 big pay-per-views. Technically, there's that NXT one too, but I'm not going to be watching that. I'm too far behind on NXT, and I don't really care for the 2.0 version. So, I'm going to talk about that next week, see what happens, and I promise when you hear from me next, it'll not be